Excellent to know one.
So, Mr. Speaker, could you please give us advice on how to stop this behaviour in the future?
Lee Anderson responds strongly after Tommy Robinson's heated exchange involving Starmer and Lammy. You're not going to believe what just unfolded in the political arena. Because this moment right here is the kind that sends shockwaves through every corner of the debate. While the headlines were focused elsewhere, something massive was brewing in the background. Something raw, unfiltered, and completely unexpected. It started with Tommy Robinson going live, speaking in a tone that didn't sound rehearsed, didn't sound strategic, but sounded like someone who'd been pushed to the limit. The frustrations poured out quickly, sharply, with the kind of energy that makes people stop scrolling and actually listen. And just when it seemed like things couldn't escalate any further, Lee Anderson stepped in. And that's when the entire conversation shifted. Now, for anyone who's followed British politics lately, you already know Lee Anderson doesn't mince words. Whether he's challenging the government or disagreeing with the opposition, he does it straight, openly, and without the polished political gloss. So the moment he publicly responded to Robinson's heated live moment, especially one involving Keir Starmer and David Lammy, the internet lit up instantly. But before we get to Anderson's reaction, let's rewind to what sparked all this. During the live broadcast, Robinson expressed a series of frustrations, not accusations, not claims, but opinions and concerns about how certain national conversations were being handled by political leaders. He questioned decisions, tone, and what he felt were gaps in communication. And whether people agree with him or not, one thing was clear. The intensity of his delivery made this impossible to ignore. Clips spread fast. Comment sections exploded. And suddenly, what was supposed to be just another political live stream became the biggest talking point of the week. That's where Lee Anderson enters the frame. Within hours, Anderson released his own response, calm, deliberate, but firm. Not attacking, not insulting, but taking a strong stance on the larger issue at hand, the deep disconnect between political leaders and the public they're supposed to represent. He didn't defend everything Robinson said. He didn't echo the tone. But he did point out something important. Something many viewers had been feeling for a long time. He said, essentially, when people feel unheard, moments like this become inevitable. That single line hit hard. Because whether you support Robinson, Anderson, Starmer, or Lammy, one thing is undeniable: political frustration in the UK is at a boiling point. People want clarity. People want directness. People want transparency. And Anderson tapped straight into that national mood. Political insiders reacted quickly. One Westminster aide told a reporter off camera, "Moments like this expose how fragile public trust really is." A journalist posted, "When Anderson comments, it's never by accident. He knows exactly the pressure points in the public mood." Even ordinary social media users weighed in. Finally, someone is acknowledging why people are angry. This isn't about sides, it's about communication. And then one comment that went viral said, "You can disagree with the delivery, but the questions remain." That's when the story stopped being about personalities and started being about something deeper. Anderson continued his remarks by shifting the focus directly onto Starmer and Lammy. Not in a personal attack, not in extreme language, but in a challenge. He urged them to address the concerns people have been voicing for months. To communicate more openly. To respond more clearly. To step into uncomfortable conversations instead of avoiding them. He said, if leaders want respect, they have to show respect, and that starts by addressing the public directly. There was no shouting. No hostility. Just a pointed reminder that the public expects more from its leaders. And that calm but firm approach is exactly what made his message resonate. Now, the reactions from political analysts were fascinating. One commentator said, "This is a turning point. Anderson isn't just responding to Robinson, he's responding to the national mood." Another added, "Starmer and Lammy will eventually need to address these tensions. Silence won't hold forever." And a third put it even more bluntly. The public wants answers. And if politicians don't give them, someone else will. This moment, this entire chain reaction shows exactly how fast the landscape can shift. One live outburst. One strong response. One national conversation catching fire. And suddenly the pressure lands squarely on the desks of the Labour leadership. So now the big question becomes, what happens next? Does Keir Starmer respond? Does David Lammy address the concerns? Do they step forward and calm the storm, or does the silence stretch longer? Because right now, people are watching. People are waiting. People want clarity, not complicated speeches, not political distancing, not vague talking points. They want straight answers from the people in charge. And if this week proved anything, it's this. When leaders stay quiet, the public turns to whoever will speak. That's why Robinson's broadcast exploded. That's why Anderson's reaction reverberated. And that's why the tension in British politics feels heavier tonight than it did just a few days ago. As we wrap up, one thought lingers in the air. If this is the reaction to one moment, if this is the intensity around one broadcast, then what happens when the next political spark lands? What happens when the public asks a question that can't be avoided? And the biggest question of all, if this is just the beginning, how much deeper does it go? Because one thing's certain, the real story hasn't even started yet.